I've always been drawn to the stories that make your skin crawl, the ones that linger in the dark corners of your mind when the world goes quiet. I run a YouTube channel where I dive into true horror stories, real events so terrifying they leave you questioning what's hiding just out of sight. I've explored murders, possessions, and haunted places, but there's something uniquely chilling about a ghost caught on camera, a moment where the veil between our world and the next is torn open for all to see. Tonight, I'm taking you into one of the most unsettling cases I've ever encountered, a story of a security camera in an abandoned hospital that captured something no one can explain. This is Real Ghost Caught on Camera, a true paranormal nightmare, and it's going to keep you glued to the screen until the very last word. I first stumbled across this story while browsing a paranormal forum late at night, the kind of place where skeptics and believers clash over grainy videos and eerie tales. A post titled "Ghost in St Mary's Hospital" caught my eye, linking to a YouTube clip with over 1 million views. The footage was short, just 17 seconds, but it sent chills down my spine. A security camera in an empty hallway showed a shadowy figure gliding across the frame, its form human but wrong, like a silhouette made of smoke. The comments were a frenzy. Some called it a hoax, others swore it was proof of the afterlife. I dug deeper, chasing leads through news articles, interviews, and obscure blogs until I pieced together the truth behind the video. This wasn't just a viral clip, it was a glimpse into a haunting that shook a small town and left everyone who saw it questioning reality. Let me take you back to 2015, to the town of Marion, Virginia, a quiet community nestled in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Marion is the kind of place where everyone knows your name, where the biggest news is the high school football game. But on the edge of town stood St Mary's Hospital, a hulking relic from the 1930s, abandoned since 2008 when a new medical centre opened. The hospital was a 5-story brick building, its windows boarded, its walls stained with moss and graffiti. Locals avoided it, whispering about its past, decades of births, deaths, and suffering soaked into its bones. Some said it was haunted, that the spirits of patients lingered, unable to move on. Others dismissed it as urban legend, but no one lingered near St Mary's after dark. The hospital was owned by a real estate company, hoping to sell it for redevelopment, but vandalism and trespassing were constant problems. In 2014, they installed a basic security system, motion-activated cameras in the main hallways, linked to a guard station a mile away. The system was cheap, black and white, no audio, designed to catch kids sneaking in for thrills. The cameras ran 24/7, their footage stored on a hard drive for 30 days before being overwritten. Most nights, the monitors showed nothing but empty corridors, the occasional rat scurrying past. But on October 27th, 2015, at 3:14 a.m, one camera in the 3rd floor hallway captured something that would change everything. The security guard on duty, a 42-year-old named Tom Harris, was half asleep, sipping coffee in the guard station. He'd worked the night shift for a year, used to the monotony of staring at blank screens. That night, the motion sensor pinged, waking the 3rd floor camera. Tom glanced at the monitor and froze. The hallway, lit by a faint emergency light, was empty at first. Then, from the left, a figure appeared. It was tall, humanoid, but its edges blurred, like ink dissolving in water. It moved smoothly, almost gliding, crossing the 20-foot hallway in seconds before vanishing into the right wall. There were no footsteps, no sound, just the silent, unnatural motion. Tom's heart pounded. He rewound the footage, watching it again and again, each time more convinced it wasn't human. Tom wasn't a believer in ghosts. He'd laughed off the hospital's rumours, blaming them on bored teenagers and old pipes. But this was different. The figure didn't look like a trespasser. No flashlight, no backpack, no reflection in the dusty floor. He called his supervisor, Karen Wells, who arrived an hour later, bleary-eyed but curious. She watched the clip and went pale. "That's not a person," she whispered, though she couldn't say what it was. They saved the footage, transferring it to a USB drive, and reported it to the property manager, David Klein. Klein, a no-nonsense businessman, assumed it was a prank, maybe a glitch in the camera, but when he watched it, his skepticism wavered. The figure's movement was too fluid, too deliberate, and the wall it vanished into was solid, no doors, no exits. Word spread fast. Tom showed the clip to a friend, who uploaded it to YouTube with the title, "Ghost in Abandoned Hospital, Real." By morning, it had thousands of views, and by the end of the week, it was viral. Local news picked it up, interviewing Tom, who described the figure as like a shadow with a mind of its own. Reporters flocked to Marion, camping outside St. Mary's, their cameras flashing in the dark. The real estate company, furious about the publicity, ordered the footage removed, but it was too late. Mirrors of the clip popped up across the internet, analysed frame by frame on paranormal blogs. Skeptics argued it was a double exposure or a stage stunt, but believers pointed to the camera's timestamp and the lack of tampering evidence. The debate raged, but one thing was clear. St. Mary's Hospital was no longer just a forgotten building. I tracked down Tom Harris last year, now retired and living in Roanoke. Over the phone, his voice was low, hesitant, like he still didn't want to relive it. "I've seen that clip 1,000 times, he said. "It's not a trick." Something was in that hallway. He told me the hospital had a history, stories he'd ignored until that night. Nurses from the 1980s spoke of a third-floor patient, a woman named Margaret Cole, who died in 1987 after a botched surgery. Margaret, a 45-year-old mother, was admitted for a routine procedure but suffered complications, slipping into a coma. She lingered for weeks, her family at her bedside, before passing in room 312, near the hallway where the camera was mounted. Staff claimed her room felt wrong after. Lights flickered, monitors beeped without power, and some swore they saw a woman in a hospital gown wandering the hall. Margaret's story became the focus of the haunting. Locals speculated the figure in the video was her, trapped by her sudden death, searching for her family. Others dug deeper, uncovering older tales. St. Mary's had a psychiatric ward in the 1950s where patients endured harsh treatments, electroshock, lobotomies, restraints. Some died, their records lost or buried. A 1962 fire in the basement killed 2 orderlies, their screams echoing through the vents. The hospital's pain, believers argued, had seeped into its walls, creating a vortex of restless spirits. The 3rd floor, where the camera was the epicenter. Nurses avoided it at night, and maintenance workers reported footsteps, whispers, even hands brushing their necks. The viral video drew ghost hunters to Marion. In November 2015, a paranormal team, Appalachian Ghost Seekers, got permission to investigate St. Mary's, led by Sarah Mitchell, a former EMT turned investigator. They spent a weekend in the hospital, armed with EMF meters, thermal cameras, and audio recorders. The 3rd floor was their focus. Sarah later shared their findings on a podcast, her voice trembling. The air was heavy, like wading through water, she said. Their EMF spiked near room 312, and the thermal camera showed a cold spot, human-shaped, moving down the hallway. They captured EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, whispering "Margaret" and "help me." One investigator, Mike, felt a tug on his jacket, turning to find no one there. Their footage, uploaded to YouTube, showed a fleeting shadow in the same hallway as Tom's video, reigniting the frenzy. I watched that footage frame by frame, late at night. It's grainy, but the shadow is there, matching Tom's clip. Tall, blurred, gliding. The EVPs are faint but clear. A woman's voice, desperate. Skeptics called it pareidolia, the mind seeing patterns in noise, but the consistency chilled me. 2 cameras, years apart, capturing the same figure in the same hall. I reached out to Sarah Mitchell, now running a paranormal blog. She told me St. Mary's was unlike any place she'd investigated. It's not just one ghost, she said. It's like the hospital is alive, holding on to everyone who suffered there. She mentioned a moment off camera. Her flashlight died, and she heard breathing, close, like someone was behind her. She never went back. The real estate company, overwhelmed by trespassers, tightened security. In 2016, they hired a new guard, Lisa Carter, who lasted 3 months. Lisa, a single mom, needed the job, but quit after her own encounter. She told a local reporter she saw the figure on the 3rd floor monitor. Not once but twice, always at 3 a.m. The second time, the camera cut out, and she heard a scream through the station speaker, though the system had no audio. "I felt it watching me," she said, her eyes haunted. The company replaced the cameras, but the new system glitched, showing static or blank frames on the 3rd floor. By 2017, they gave up, boarding the hospital tighter, chaining the gates. St. Mary's was left to rot, its secrets locked inside. I dug into the hospital's past, chasing Margaret Cole's story. Her obituary from a 1987 Marion paper confirmed her death at St. Mary's, survived by 2 daughters. I found one, Emily, now in her 50s, living in Tennessee. She was reluctant but spoke briefly. "Mom didn't want to die there," she said. She was scared, kept saying she saw someone in her room. Emily believes the figure is her mother, unable to rest. Other records hinted at more. Unmarked graves in the hospital's old cemetery, patients forgotten in the psych ward. A 1970s nurse, interviewed in a 2015 documentary, recalled a presence on the 3rd floor, like eyes following her. "We all felt it," she said. "You didn't talk about it, but you knew." The video's impact lingered. It inspired a 2018 indie horror film, Corridor of Shadows, and countless reaction videos. Paranormal YouTubers analysed it, some recreating the hallway in studios, others debunking it with CGI theories. A 2019 tech analysis by a Virginia university found no signs of digital manipulation in Tom's clip, though skeptics argued shadows could be cast by off-camera lights. Believers countered with the EVPs and witness accounts, too consistent to dismiss. The debate keeps the video alive, viewed millions of times, shared across platforms like Reddit and TikTok. Marion's tourism spiked, with ghost tours stopping at St. Mary's gates, though no one's allowed inside. I've watched Tom's clip more times than I can count, each viewing more unsettling. The figure's movement, smooth, purposeful, feels alive, aware. I've been to Marion, stood outside St. Mary's at dusk, the hospital looming like a sleeping giant. The air felt heavy, the silence oppressive. A local, an old man walking his dog, warned me to stay away. That place doesn't like visitors, he said, glancing at the boarded windows. I didn't see the figure, but I felt something, a prickle on my neck, like being watched. I left, my car's headlights cutting through the fog, but the feeling followed me home. What was caught on that camera? Margaret Cole, searching for peace, a patient from the psych ward, trapped by their pain, or something darker, a force born from decades of suffering. The EVPs, the shadows, the witnesses, Tom, Lisa, Sarah, dozens of others, say it's real. St. Mary's is still there, decaying, its third floor silent but not empty. The footage lives online, a 17-second window into the unknown. I keep a screenshot on my desk, the figure frozen mid-glide, a reminder of what I can't explain. This is real ghost caught on camera, and it's not just a video, it's proof that some things don't rest, some places don't forget. If you're watching, you've seen it. Now ask yourself, what's on your camera when the lights go out? What's moving in the dark? Sleep tight, because this nightmare is real and it's closer than you think.